Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Action Network. Today is our divisional round recap episode. I am Chad Millman. I am joined by my BFF, my companion, my compadre, my co-host, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
How we doing, Chad?
Dude,
Dude.
we're going to get some perspective here because we literally just had probably for sure the worst weekend we've had this year. Pure offer on every game. Maybe the worst weekend we've had in 4 or 5 years of doing this together. We were wrong on every side of every game. And everything we thought would happen, the opposite happened. We were convinced a dominant defense on the number one seeded team that was a huge favorite would befuddle a first-year starting quarterback. At least that happened. But did we choose the right one? That is the question, and so many other questions we will answer on today's pod. We will go over all the divisional round games, see how we did on Simon Says, Exec Decision, Big Balls, Foxhole. I might have foreshadowed, not well. Plus, we give our first instinct takes on the conference title games. The only perspective I can give is that we are not massive Bills fans right now. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boosts. Check out the boost and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Louisiana, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Let the torture begin, Simon Hunter. We will get to Bills, Chiefs last. That was our Simon Says first game up. Big balls, bet of the week. That was Houston +9 at Baltimore. That is the game where the number one seeded team that was the big favorite with the great defense did befuddle a quarterback in his first year and in his second playoff game. We always talk about being on the right side of the cresting wave. We did not catch the wave in this game in any way. We didn't jump off the Lamar trends. We did jump off the Lamar trend. No, we did not jump off of the Lamar trends as a big favorite at the right time. We did not jump off of the John Harbaugh trends as a big favorite at the right time. We had false hope at the end of the first half, like the return by Steven Sims to tie the game. Really good series by the Houston Texans defense. By the end of the third quarter, we were in backdoor cover mode. That's really it.
Yeah, like you said it, though, we got that kick return. It's like you had that false hope. It's 10-10. We missed the field goal. We should have been winning at halftime. Was feeling pretty good. And yeah, CJ just laid an egg. And had plenty of people bring up the fact that DC is the same guy that shut him down when he was at Michigan. And CJ was at Ohio State. So apparently he knows how to play him. And I really didn't buy into it too much, but I guess they're kind of right. But it felt like everything that could have went wrong for Houston kind of did. The game really, to me, said more about Lamar, right? Lamar came out in that second half, drove down the field, got the ball back, drove down the field, and then got the ball back and drove down the field. It's like that's MVP regular season Lamar. So the fact that he had his best half of football in his playoff career in that game, we got. Yeah, like you said, that was a bad bet. False hope in the first half for sure, where it's like, oh, they're in this game and they were just never in it. Like CJ just never did the thing CJ usually does in those games, which is keep things close. And yeah, Lamar caught us in a good spot. Like they're a really complete team, and I saw the crazy stats like Evan had in his article about how well they've played against the best teams this year. And it's pretty incredible. Like they struggle against 500 teams, but everyone that's like 3 games above 500, they just smack them. And that's the kind of team they are. So Yeah, that was a bad bet.
We got is a great way to say it. There was one thing
We did.
that we talked about. We talked about on the favorites multiple times. We talked about it on Green Dot Daily with Maria. We talked about it on Convince Me when we were doing the show, when we were talking about this game. CJ Stroud all season long had been a different quarterback when he was on the road playing outside than when he was at home. And we just sort of decided that wasn't going to be something that we worried about very much in this game. I don't know why. I don't know what I think we just sort of we bought the hype of how good he had been at the end of the season and decided that that combined with Lamar really not having proven it yet, not just in the playoffs, but as a big favorite, not having proven it. I think that got into our head. I think that's what it was. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'd also say we're 8-2 betting against Lamar as a big favorite. So yeah, we got there, but like I said, we play the spot. We like Lamar as a short favorite or a big dog, and a little foreshadowing. Looks like we might be getting him as a short favorite.
The Ravens defense was downright sick, and we have not talked about them as a dominant team because whenever we talk about this team, we talk about Lamar. And I want to spend a second just outlining some of the stats here because obviously they're playing in the AFC title game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's a little bit of foreshadowing and previewing for that breakdown. These are numbers against a quarterback who led the league in passing yards per game in this game, right? 213 total yards, 10 total first downs, 38 rushing yards. If you look at the box score, it's just a bunch of freaking zeros. No offensive touchdowns, no points in the second half. Lamar is the conversation because he was MVP, and people think, well, they're not dominant because he's not dominant. This defense, Simon, we talked about Kyle Hamilton in one of our breakdowns, our favorites film room, how dominant he can be. That's exactly what he was on Sunday. I cannot wait to get your take on this defense against the Chiefs, given what we both thought of the Chiefs going into this game against the Bills, how we are going to frame how we feel what the Chiefs just did against this Bills defense and what they are going to be facing against the Ravens defense. Fascinating. We're going to get to that game in a little bit. First, we have to continue with the torture and the flogging and the self-reflection. We're self-scouting right now. Exact decision, Green Bay at San Francisco minus 10. My bad. My bad. Whoops. Look, we talk about dominant defenses on the number one seeded team that was a huge favorite that would befuddle a first-year starting quarterback. This is the game we were pegging. I can't tell if I dragged you into it. Like early in the week, you were like, yeah, that makes sense. By the end of the week, you were all freaking in on this game. You were 100% with me. And I will tell you, Deebo Samuel, there's going to be a year. I texted my buddy Seth this today. There's going to be a year where Brock Purdy wins the MVP of the league. And Deebo Samuel is voted MVP by his teammates of the 49ers. Because that first series, this is what happened. McCaffrey for 5, Purdy to Samuel for 15, Purdy to Samuel for 9. Then he's out of the game. Purdy is off his game for the rest of the game. Deebo Samuel's got to play for them to have a chance.
Yeah, but this is Debo's Achilles heel, so he'll never be in that scenario. He plays, I know it sounds stupid to say, but he plays too hard. Even Kyle Shanahan's talked about this, where they're scared to get him touches in the middle of the season because they're like, he can't not go 110%. Like if he sees a guy ahead of him, he'll never step out of bounds. He's going to try to run through that guy's face. And that's just how Debo plays. So I love it. I'm with you. It's like, this guy's incredible. I remember being really pissed off the Eagles didn't get him. We got some guy named AJ Brown. Turned out to be an all right move, but that's everyone wants Debo. Debo is such a game changer, but he only knows one way to play. So I get where you're coming from, though. Like Shout out to our listeners who are at the live show. Apparently, I did say I was going to take Green Bay at +10, but you're right. You talked me into it. A bunch of people talked me into it, and I was like, you know what? If it's under 10, you guys are right. That was a good number. And I think we had three different times where it lined up. We still could have got that under 10 play. Like it was going to land on 10. And
Yeah.
like any sicko that gambles, you always have this false hope. And they had that pick, and you're like, yes, this idiot's trying to run it back. We're gonna get this
Yes.
backdoor cover. But no, we didn't deserve it. This week, none of the bounces went our way. And that's what's so tough about playoffs. It's like our read wasn't terrible. The thing we didn't predict was Purdy just not being himself, right? It took him a little bit to get going. But at the same time, if you're a 49ers fan, how are you not just so excited? Like the guy led a game-winning drive. It's something that's so hard to do in the playoffs, and you got to see that from Purdy. So, yeah, another game we got wrong, but at the same time, like felt like it was a coin flip game. But the Green Bay felt like the right side from the get-go, where Jordan Love was just playing really well. I did not see him playing as well as he did. So, kudos to that team. Like Jordan Love, every week he's showed up here for these last 8 weeks.
Here's the thing. Because I was trying to figure this out. And by the way, I was doing the same thing. I was doing the gambler's math. And at the end of the game, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm like, I still got an outside shot at the
Yeah.
minus 10.5. I still got a very outside shot at the over 50.5. Like I was just holding on, and it was not a pretty night in my house. I'm just going to tell you, my kid and had all his buddies over. They all ordered wings. Two of them ended up puking because they got some kind of something going on. So in the middle of the game, I'm upstairs in my kid's room cleaning up because he's not feeling great. And then I got to go back down. Jordan Love was not amazing in this game. Like even like in the first two drives, they had the ball for what, the 12 minutes of the first quarter, completed 5 of his first 10 passes for less than 20 yards. Then he had that one long throw, but they were just running the ball so well. The Niners couldn't get off the field and they couldn't stop Aaron Jones. That was the ball game.
Yeah, he played really well, but it's more about how Jordan Love plays in the red zone. Like it's so hard to score in the league, and it's like every week he gets 2 to 3 touchdown passes. It's just crazy how efficient he is in this LaFleur offense. But you're right. No, he didn't have his A game. He had 2 picks in the game, and
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, a guy who they were trying to split carries with all season. I mean, back-to-back weeks, how dominant was he for that team? So it's just interesting how these teams want to move on from these running backs of the past, and sometimes it's like just play the guy who's earned it, right? Aaron Jones earned those touches. It was just weird
Yeah.
they went away from him this season, but yeah, Green Bay. How can you not be so excited about your future? Like it's just crazy. 3 straight guys they've drafted have hit. It's just we all hate you, Green Bay. I think you guys know that, so that's just how it is.
They haven't had a quarterback issue since 1992. No,
Who
Simon.
was that? Who was that quarterback? Was it Harbaugh?
No, Don Mikowski,
Even better.
who I remember watching in my freaking college dorm room at Indiana University. And then all of a sudden it was Brett Favre and then Rodgers and now Jordan Love. So here's what's interesting, and we're going to talk about this one too in the preview for the NFC title game. Deebo Samuel goes out. Brock Purdy struggles almost immediately. He's indecisive. He's not accurate. Just the game plan is totally different. And so, of course, I was obsessed with this game this morning, reading everything about it because I want to know if Deebo is going to be playing because I love this team so much. And even Shanahan was talking about after the game how much it changes his game plan and how much it changes everything for everyone in the field. And he actually pointed out that Cleveland Browns game where Deebo went out during the game. The Niners had a chance to win. They ended up missing a field goal. He said, it happened during the Cleveland game. We didn't handle it well. We handled it better today than we did then. The only difference in those two games is this time Brock Purdy delivers with a touchdown instead of leading it up to Jake Moody, who also missed a field goal in that game.
Yeah.
According to Schefter, and again, we'll get to the Niners lines. According to Schefter, Debo told people on the Niners he was okay. According to Michael Irvin, who said he spoke to Debo Samuel, Debo said he can lift his arms above his head. He's feeling better. No, no sure confirmation that he's playing yet, but they are starting to feel positive. All right, the Foxhole, Tampa plus 6.5 Detroit. Not a lot to say about this one. Kind of played exactly as we expected it to. There was a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. They were down 8. They went for the 2. They make it. We probably cover the bet. They missed it. We don't. Wasn't a lopsided game. It played this is one we got right. We were just on the wrong side of a 2-point conversion.
Yeah. No, like I had a guy text me as a joke, like, you guys had a good week. You went 3-1 in the first half. Like, fuck you, dude. Like that's so sickening though. It's just all these second halves were just brutal for us. This one here is like exactly what we talked about. We talked about Mike Evans, his over receptions, his touchdowns. We knew that they were gonna really attack this line still on the outside. And it's just what a time to be a Lions fan. Like I can't get over the fact that this offense, every time they need 7, they do produce. Like it's pretty incredible. They are able to produce for like this playoffs. It's not too big for him. And I know Goff, like obviously he's been to the Super Bowl. That's something real, right? Like the fact that he has that confidence in himself and he's playing that well. Um, he's making big time throws in these games. Like he had a lot of pressure to deal with today, and he handled it really well. Something we just saw the week before. Jalen Hurts could not make the hot read. Felt like he made the hot read every time he needed to make it. So the two-headed running back monsters, right? Like the Gibbs Montgomery combo. One of the guys doesn't have a great game. The other one really picks it up. And then Laporta has looked better every week since the knee injury. And then we know Amon St. Brown. It's like all the pieces are there. I think the fact remains. I mean, you have questions about their defense, right? And Baker, he had his moments. He just missed a couple throws that he should have had, and it would have been a different game. So, yeah, came down to a 2-point, like we said. Just was not our week. It did not go our way. Easily could have called a pass interference if Mike Evans played that ball differently. He didn't. No need to call it. That was a clean play by the defense. And yeah, I was just happy that Bowles went for the 2 because I thought for sure he was not going to go for 2.
Yeah.
Like I was like, God, this dinosaur. This is why I didn't want to take them to win this game. And he did. Like he shut me up. He went for the 2. He played it smart. Just didn't work out for them. So yeah, no regrets. It's a bet. It's a bet we were going to make. I told you I had the number 5.5. If it was 5.5, 4.5, I would have taken the lines. We're just playing the numbers, and I have no regrets. Like you said, it came down to a 2-pointer. So we liked Baker all season. He was good to us all season. Just didn't end the way we hoped with a Tampa cover and the Lions outright.
I was thinking about you when Bowles was going for that 2-point conversion because all season long we've been bashing the guy for being a dinosaur. And so good on him for not pulling
Yeah.
Ron Rivera and playing the right play and going for 2 there. It was very much like a Matt LaFleur move, not a Todd Bowles move.
Yeah.
And yeah, we backed Baker. He had moxie. He did right by us. You just said the same thing about Lamar, like probably 8-2 betting against Lamar in these big favorite spots. Had a nice year back in Baker. No regrets on that one. This last one, the Chiefs, it's the flip side for you and I of the Packers and the Niners. Because when we talked about it on Tuesday, you loved the Bills, and I was struggling because I wanted to bet the Chiefs. And I just could not get myself over the hump. And eventually I did. Like the conversation around this Chiefs team and what they were doing offensively and how they couldn't finish against Miami stuck in my head all week when you're watching this game as someone who literally convinced me yesterday you were pleading with people to take the Buffalo Bills. When you're watching this game, how is it playing out in your head? Were the Chiefs a different team than you thought?
Different in the sense I thought their defense was so bad. I was like, wow, I can't believe how easily the Bills were moving the ball. And then, they held him to 2 field goals. I was feeling pretty good. Like, okay, this is what we expected out of this Chiefs offense. And then it just eventually clicked, right? Like they never punted, or I think maybe they had one punt, that Chiefs offense. Like it just, I mean, Mahomes did what Mahomes does, right? He did whatever he wanted that game. And um, you know, McDermott, like the whole defensive staff for the Bills, they just never made the adjustments to get the stops. And it felt like the Bills were kind of getting lucky to be in it. Like, even though they had a 4-point lead at half, it
Yeah.
felt like, okay, if the Chiefs open with a drive and a touchdown here, we could be in trouble. And that's what Mahomes did. He drove right down the field, scored a touchdown. But yeah, tough where it's like Josh Allen played such a great game, and then he got tight there at the end in the fourth quarter, and that's playoff football. Like, it's really hard not to get your head cluttered, right? Keep your mind clear and stay in the moment. Not a lot of guys can do that professionally, and Mahomes thrives in these type of moments where it's like he's just so locked in. Josh Allen needed a touchdown at the end of the game, and we joked before coming on air, like, if your last name's a fish name, you're a loser for life. Like, you might do well in life, like Trout, make a ton of money. You will have zero playoff success. Like Trout, Bass, all these fish guys, get them out of my life. I can't take it. Like, just unreal. That guy missing that kick, though. But even if he
I had
made it,
no idea where you were going with that. Salmon, Tim Salmons.
yeah, get him
Right?
out of my life. But even if he made that kick, it felt like Mahomes would come down the field and
Yeah.
get a field
There
goal,
was too
right?
much time,
Yes. So,
you know?
like you said, we were just on the wrong side of it, where I believed in the Bills at home. It never mattered, did it? Right? Like, there was no false starts. The Bills fans were giving it their all, being loud as hell. It just never phased them. They never had false starts. Like, it did nothing to that Chiefs offense. So yeah, like, I thought home field was going to be a big deal in that game, and clearly it was not. They won by 3. So just can't say enough how great Mahomes is, and just keeps adding to his legacy.
Matt Mitchell, even through his agony, is such a professional. Don't forget Matt Mitchell, who was wearing a Buffalo Bills 1992 Super Bowl combination windbreaker material sweatsuit for the game last Monday in New York. Real-time fact checking reminding us that Tim Salmon, 2002 World Series champion with the California, Anaheim, Los Angeles Angels. Thank you, Matt Mitchell. I felt like
What?
uh
Los Angeles Angels never won anything.
whatever, I don't know what they called themselves in 2002, but he was on the Angels when they won the World Series.
Oh,
Matt
really?
Mitchell is now
Okay.
saying in the chat,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah.
show a
No,
nipple
you're
on
right. You're
network
right.
TV, but you can let my children see the most disgusting fake punt with the full defensive back. I do feel like now he's getting going. I do feel like that fake punt reeked of panic. And I'm just, does that make me, as an owner of the Bills, have to assess Sean McDermott right now? I thought that was a terrible call. And I thought that at the end of the game, the play calling overall was terrible. Joe Brady and McDermott defensively, but that call specifically, terrible call.
Yeah, that was apparently they said on TV that there was 10 guys on the field. That's why they made that
So
call.
right,
They
they
made
made an adjustment in real time.
Yeah, so that sucks. Where it's like, yeah, I would say, why in the world would you not have Josh Allen make a 4th and 5 decision, like one of the best players in the world, rather than leaving it up to Hamlin making some weird read where it's like they're running it to the left here and just hoping to get behind his line and they push forward. You're right. Like, it was a weird call, but I do think it was them making the in-game adjustment because they read that there was only 10 guys out there. So who knows? It could have been Hamlin's call. What I think that all the Bills fans are mad about, even though they did have injuries to their defense, was just the lack of adjustments, right? The Chiefs, I just said, I think they punted one time in that game. Like, that means every time they have the ball, they're either getting 3 or 7. Like, you'll never win a home playoff game if you
No.
can't get at least 1 or 2 stops. And yeah, it just didn't work out. Like, Mahomes, he had a couple amazing plays, but it really felt like it was the old school Chiefs where it was schemed up, where guys were just open, right? Like, how many plays were guys just wide open? That's what you're used to seeing from them. You really didn't see it this year. So yeah, in their biggest moment, the guys who played it simple just betting Mahomes blindly as a dog. They cash again. I don't know what's up to. Is it 9-1-1 now,
Yeah.
Evan? Yeah, we're the fools for going against it.
We're gonna have to break down these games a little bit. Pretty soon, we're just gonna burn this film. Get started, Simon, on your resolutions with Factor. So you're ready for the new year. Factor is ready to eat meal delivery, takes the stress out of meal planning, and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery store's prep work and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolution. Simon, if you've got a date heading over to your place, but all you have is leftover pizza from our other sponsor, Factor can get you special occasion meals with their Gourmet Plus selection for fast upscale options. Head to factormeals.com/favorites50 and use code favorites50 to get 50% off. That's code favorites50 at factormeals.com/favorites50 to get 50% off. Also, don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube page. All right. Jesus Christ. Just dreadful. Foxhole, Tampa Bay +6.5. Loser. Simon says Buffalo -2.5. Loser. Exact decision. San Francisco -10. Loser. Big balls. Houston +9.5. Loser. Round robin. Houston, San Francisco, Detroit, Buffalo. All right. That's it. We're done talking about this week. We're moving on. Everyone has a bad week. The week before, Simon, we cleaned up across the board. Then you have a bad week. It just happens. You got to rally. Just a couple more weeks of football left. Detroit at San Francisco. San Francisco's 7-point favorite right now. I've talked a lot about Debo. Here's the difference between the Niners with and without Debo. When he was on the field this year for a full game, the Niners were 12-1 and won by an average of 18 points per game. In games he misses or starts and doesn't finish, 1-4, 0-5 against the spread. The lone win being last night. It's like they had one game where they won by less than double digits when he was on the field the entire game. That was week 2 on the road at the Rams, and they won by a freaking touchdown. Like, if he's on the field and we can count on it, which we can't, you just have to bet this team. If he starts, if he is in the lineup, I don't know how you don't play the percentages and bet the San Francisco 49ers.
Can't believe you're not on Detroit. This is such a Chad story. This is what you live for. This is like as good as it gets as a football fan, rooting for Detroit here. It's a big number. Like I'm shocked you don't love the 7. This is this is a number we'll always have a chance for a back door. Like that's why we take these big numbers in these games where it's like Detroit. Say what you want about them. I know they're a different team outdoors. The fact that they made it to this point shows how good they are, and I feel like the books are not really factor in how good this offense is. Like here and there, they do go through phases where they don't move the ball, but all of a sudden they'll go 3 or 4 straight possessions. They'll score, right? They'll just drive the field and score. And this 49ers team, we've seen they're able to be passed on. Like that Lamar game, they were able to pass the ball. Even Jordan Love, I know you said he had the greatest game. He almost threw for 200 yards and he threw for 2 touchdowns. Like you are able to move the ball through the air against this team, right? It's the key to them is their D line and their linebackers. So, there's ways that they can attack this team. I just feel like at 7, it's such a big number. Like I get where you're coming from at 6.5. You're like, I kind of want to take the 49ers. It'll be hard for me to argue on that, even though I know I have this modeled less than that. But at 7, it's like we have to take this early Detroit. Is there any world where this goes to plus 7.5? Like I can't see the books ever getting up there where I can see this going down to 6.5 towards the 49ers. So to me, if you want to get the best of the number now, It feels like the 7 is the grab for this game.
Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. I did bet the 6.5. I
That's
bet the
fair.
Niners at 6.5. I saw it. I felt like it was going up to 7. It may come back down, but I felt like it might just level off at 7 and not move. Like this Chiefs Bills game kind of it hit 3 for about a minute a couple times and basically settled at 2.5. And the lines this week did not move very much. It felt like money was coming in on both sides. I took the 6.5 only because I wanted a little bit of a hedge on Debo playing. I'm not overly committed to it. It was more just like I'm taking what I think I can get at the best possible number. And then I can buy out of it if I have to. I don't feel that strongly about it yet, except I
Yeah,
do like the Niners to dominate if Debo Samuel is playing.
that's fair.
Jared Goff against pressure. This has been his Achilles heel for him all season long. Like he was #1 rated quarterback, I think, according to PFF, uh, with a clean pocket, but 22nd when he was being blitzed. Uh, the Bucks blitzed on 52% of his dropbacks, yet he was only pressured in the pocket 5 times because he got the ball out of his hands so quickly, 2.5 seconds, the ball was out of his hands. So that's the good news for Jared Goff as he was making decisions against what he expected to be a lot of pressure. The Niners' gift, though, is getting to the quarterback without blitzing. Third lowest blitz rate, fourth fewest blitzes in the NFL, but ninth most in sacks.
Yeah, and the fear is we talked all season about it. It's just the splits between him indoors and outdoors, right?
Yeah,
It's an outdoors game. We know that's a real thing. The splits are a real thing, but um, I just I just can't believe it's this big of a number. Like I'm shocked it's not 4.5. Like the 49ers are really that good. They're that much better than the second place team in the NFC. It's just interesting the book opened it up that much where it's like, it feels like we got caught within that Green Bay game. It's like we drank too much of the Kool-Aid and that number was too big. It feels a little bit like the same here, but I can't fault you on it. It's like this offense, this 49ers offense is the best of this season, right? They were #1 almost every metric. So if Debo is healthy and all the guys are healthy, I'm sure you're gonna be going head to head on this one.
I think we are going to be. I think listen, we've been doing this a long time. I know when you're trying to tell me that you think I'm an idiot without telling me I'm an
No,
idiot.
I don't have enough confidence to think you're an idiot right now after going 0 for 4. Trust me.
How foolish of me then to right now be more confident than I've ever been in the Niners at -6.5. That is ridiculous. But listen, I'm not hot committed to this. This was a small taste just to get it at 6.5 in case I ultimately decided first instinct. There will be a lot of conversations over the next 7 days
Oh
before
yeah.
we get to that game to really dig in and decide how we feel about that game. Simon, I know it's playoff time. Life is full of distractions right now in your world, but that's still not a good excuse for forgetting the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States. Can you name it?
Game time.
Gametime. I love Gametime for 2 reasons. One, they sponsor this show. Number two, I actually use Gametime to buy tickets. They've got amazing last minute deals on all sorts of tickets, including pro and college football games. Speaking of which, I'm opening Gametime right now from my house here in Connecticut. Oh boy, I can get into the Knicks Brooklyn Nets game this upcoming week, January 23rd, less than $75 for quality NBA action, no matter where you live. Download the Game Time app, get out, have some fun this week. Go sweat your bets live and in person. You can redeem code favorites for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just download the app and enter code favorites for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. Kansas City, Baltimore. Game was opening 3.5. If it's changed since we've been on air, I don't know because I haven't been able to check the lines if anyone wants to throw it in there. But any first instincts here? I have no read on this game.
Yeah, I love the Ravens. Like I hit a couple threes when it popped, and it's just like, all right, if it goes to 3, 2.5, I'm gonna be all over the Ravens, and I already can hear a bunch of pros in my head telling me how do you not take Mahomes as a 3.5 point dog, and like after last week, I'm not saying shit to them. I'm just let them make their bet. I'll just smile against them and be like, all right, take Mahomes at 3.5. Like it's just. I got no idea how it's working. Like that Bills game, um, it couldn't have gone any better for that Mahomes offense. So if he does it against Baltimore, I'll be shocked. Like I'm willing to put my money up that he's not going to do it against Baltimore again. So like you said, if we're going to break it down at crazy like levels this whole week, but my first instinct is grab the 3 if you can on the Ravens. I just feel like the professionals will be on that side. Like it's a good matchup for their defense. Like we haven't really dived into it, but their defense matches up well, about just as well as you can against this Chiefs team, where you can put Kyle Hamilton, who's long enough, fast enough to cover Travis Kelce, and then just have the different guys spy Mahomes. Like they have the players that really that do match up well against them. Now you factor in that Mark Andrews should be back. Humphreys, their number one corner, hopefully is back for this Ravens team. Like it just lines up where they should win this game. And we all heard the stat in that Bills game, right? The Chiefs have given up over 5 yards per carry this season. Like they do struggle against the run. The Bills went away from it. I don't know why, but they were moving the ball whenever they wanted on the ground.
Yeah.
And by the end of that third quarter, they kind of switched it up and stopped running it as much. Didn't really make sense. I don't really think the Ravens will get away from that. It's kind of their identity. Even that opening touchdown drive by Lamar in that second half, right? He was using his legs. Like we knew he didn't need to force it with his arm. He can just pull it down and run. So, yeah, if you can get the 3, I would grab that. But yeah, this is one where I could be flipped on that 49ers Lions game. This one I'm not gonna be flipped on. Like I'm pretty dug in on this one. I have this at 4.5. I think you're getting a good number at 3.5. I'd rather you get the 3 though, because like to me, three is such a key number. We want to get that for a lot of reasons. Because Mahomes, we see it. Mahomes is the kind of guy where you can't kill him. Like it doesn't matter if you're up, what the score is. He's going to keep swinging. He's going to keep fighting. So I get why the pros are going to come in and take the 3.5, but I just think the Ravens are the right side to me.
One of the things we talked a lot about with the Bills, that worried me the most for this game was they had nobody who could defend the middle of the field, right? And even today,
Yeah.
they only suited up 4 linebackers, went down to 3 linebackers for a couple of plays because the one guy they had playing middle linebacker calling the plays was AJ Klein, who was on the street. And in the broadcast, they did a lot of diagramming to show you how the Chiefs were scheming their plays for Travis Kelce to take advantage, like running, sort of using the leverage to play against the inside players, not the outside players. And that is one thing I don't think you'll be able to do against Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith. There's not a conversation between the
Yeah.
linebackers for the Ravens and the linebackers for the Bills.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
All right, we'll dig much, much deeper into that one on Tuesday when we come back. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boost and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. If you love listening or watching us live, which you should because every point against the spread matters, catch our next episode live Tuesday at 1:45 p.m. Eastern on Action Network's YouTube channel, covering the conference championship round of the NFL playoffs. Download us from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars, say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until Tuesday, love you.